So how about this case? Shall we start to overclock and see what will happen? Well, it was last week when I started this video. I just got my mini ITX editing and streaming PC from the PC builder. Yes, even though I have the knowledge and the experience of building my own PC, and you need to end up finding a PC builder to get the components and also the price to be roughly on the level that I'm comfortable. Screw scalpers. Why? Somehow giving a PC builder is really actually quite nearer to the MSRP right here. This is quite weird that is happening around in Malaysia. Just a weird thing. Somehow everyone just accept it and just go with this trend. So some of you might notice that is that the Tower 100, the one that the air intakes from the 4th dimension.
20 or 140 fan on the bottom breathe. If it were intake, we asked where would it pull its air from? The answer we found is that it'll pull air from the 4th dimension. We'll put
Yes, is it. And just for your info, the Thermaltake actually have added in the air hose for the bottom of the chassis, so it is not from the 4th dimension, actually just from the air hole. Kinda wasted. I do hope I could one day see a PC case that could get air from the 4th dimension, but in reality it's not quite possible to have that. But let's hope. If that's happening, one day we will have 365 degrees of case pure tempered glass. No need to have any holes or any airflows needed from externally. A man could dream, right? Now back to why I'm making this video. So this PC is actually powered by a 11900K on a Z590I Aorus Ultra on a single 120mm AIO. And if you pay close attention to what I just said and have a slightly bit of knowledge on water cooling, especially AIO or general water cool, a 120mm AIO on a 11900K, this is kinda questionable to say. So today I will be taking it out to see whether this 120mm AIO could handle the heat coming out from such a power consuming chip such as the 11900K. So let's get into it. So for the test, I will be running Cinebench R23 with the stock out of the box for 30 minutes to have the heat fully absorbed on the AIO to see if whether the AIO could handle this 11900K. Out of the box should be around for 3.5 GHz, but I believe the Aorus Ultra have a function where it will boost up internally. It will automatically boost up the gigahertz to roughly around 4 point something. So let's take a look on the results. You can see here on resting, the CPU temperature is roughly around 55 degrees Celsius. This is not a good sign, although it's actually quite normal here, as the ambient temperature or the room temperature here is around 30 degrees. When I started this test was around 30 to 31 degrees Celsius. So I'm living towards the equator, where it is a tropical weather, where the temperature will hover during the day is around 29 to 32 degrees Celsius. So it's kind of expected to see this type of temperatures for our case. So once we start our test for around 30 minutes, you can see the CPU is running around 4.5 GHz and after the 30 minutes you can see it's hovering around 86 degrees Celsius. That is not a very good sign, but it is still quite okay, as it is still under the 90 degrees Celsius, which is not optimum, but it is not the worst case. As long as your CPU is not over the 90 degrees Celsius, it is considered as still workable and it will not damage your CPU. So what happens if we overclock the CPU or it pass through the 90 degrees? Well, actually this would damage your CPU in the long run, as for example, if you have this type of things for example for another 2 or 3 more years, you'll notice that your CPU would have a slower and slower clock speed. So this is what we call by thermal throttling. With the current chips implemented, normally they would like drop down the memory speed just to cool off a bit so that it will not hit the thermal throttle for so long. So how about this case? Shall we start to overclock and see what will happen? Well, if you can see from the video, we are just halfway there. So you know, we are going towards overclocking this 1100K to see how the AIO is going to handle it. Of the cool things of this Gigabyte Aorus Ultra is actually there is a software where it could help you to have the tuning automatically, so I don't need to do it manually. Since I know that it will most likely with thermal throttle, I do not want to waste my time on manual adjusting, so I'll be changing this to the performance mode. From what I read is, performance mode is where all the clock speed will be hit the maximum rate, which is around 5.4 GHz. I'm not sure whether my CPU or from the Silicon Lottery that I could hit this speed. So let's just click this and select this, and while we are at the menu, let's enable XMP because computer builders, as always, asking you to purchase a high memory RAM, but they never actually help you to enable the XMP, so you're not actually taking full use of your RAM. So if you just got a PC or you just purchase a PC, do check this out in the BIOS and enable the XMP. This is quite crucial as it will affect your performance. And alright, a quick restart and bam! Wait for the computer to restart. So for the record, I do not recommend doing this overclocking, as the rule of thumb is you need to have at least 240mm AIO for every components that you're going to overclock, and you can go through with a 120mm radiator for each components that is not overclocked. So from just now you can see that it is actually, we have already proven that 120mm AIO could handle the 1100K. It's not optimal, but it could still cool it down towards the below the 90 degrees. So now with the CPU in Gigabyte Performance mode, let's start the benchmark. The moment I click start, the fan really crank up quite a bit. So let's just take a look on the temperatures. So I can see right here, the moment I click start, the CPU start hitting the start getting the load, it straight jump up to approximately, this is 100 degrees Celsius and it's thermal throttling. The CPU got hit the 5.2 GHz, but the moment it hit, it thermal throttles and dropped down to 4.6, 4.7 GHz. Ouch! But it's kind of expected with this 120mm AIO on a 1100K overclock. So just to explain the rule of thumb of water cooling, 120 meters per heating component without overclock, 240mm radiators per heat emitting components with overclock. So for this case, I have a 1100K without overclock. This 120mm AIO is able to handle it, but the moment I am overclocking, I need to have at least 240mm of radiators. So how about water cooling about GPU and CPU? So it's the same thing. Now we have two heating components, so we need to have at least 240mm when they are not overclocked, and then you need a 480mm and above if you are overclocking them. So now, with the test results of my overclock, I could see that I am having some issues on heat. And if you all notice that this case does actually only support one 120mm AIO which mounted on the top. There is no way to mount 240mm radiator. So I would be most likely for the next follow-up video, I will be doing a custom water cool for this PC. So if you like to see how I'm going to custom water cool the Tower 100, do subscribe and click on the notification bell, as I will be showing you all on what's the thoughts of how I will design this and how am I going to custom water cool this Tower 100 that is not natively going to support the 240mm radiator. So that should be all for today. Thank you everyone. Do like if you enjoyed the video, and do dislike if you disagree, and comment down below if you have any questions or you have any suggestions for this build. If you like to see more of my content, you could click right here. I have linked one of my videos where I previously built my Tower 100 PC by basically not me, by a PC builder. So I link it right here if you like to check it out. So that will be all for today. Thank you very much. How to fix the water cooler?